It's week 19 or 20 or 22 of the shutdown. I think everything's starting to open up again. Isn't it, Rob? I don't know. Welcome to Midnight Sedge After Dark. And Rob's muted.
It's Blur Day.
I thought it was muted because the video plays, so we all get.
He can unmute himself, though.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I still haven't figured that out.
All you do is hit the mute button.
It's Monday, people.
Don't expect Rob to think.
Is it Monday already?
It is Monday.
What month are we in, though?
I'm legally required not to think by at least Wednesday.
What month are we?
That's when I hit my stride. Wednesday morning. Oh, how's it going, everybody? Happy MEAD Day. I'm, of course, Nary Supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo. With me, as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
Hail, everybody.
And joining us, as usual, is the whitest man in show business, the script doctor.
Hello.
We have a special guest with us tonight. No, you are not seeing things. Ralphie is all grown up. He's kept the bunny suit.
I shot my eye out.
He's embraced it. He's shot his eye out, so he's blind now.
Yes.
Turning right.
It was soap poisoning.
Soap poisoning. That, of course, is Mr. Dan Fraga. Check out the link in the chat. Mr. Fraga, of course, is working on a book for Indiegogo campaign for Black Flag. Tell us a little bit about that. And we got to introduce Mecca first. My bad.
Yes, and as always,
I'm always here. We don't always have people like doing things that are important and interesting and creative. I'm always here. Subscribe to my channel. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, but I felt bad.
Writing crop. Blah.
But yes, if you're not aware of Black Flag, tell us a little bit about it, Dan.
Black Flag was a comic book that I created back in 1993. It debuted in 1994 from Image Comics, featuring a cover inked by my childhood hero of Todd McFarlane. I did this book for about a year and a half. The last time it came out was 1995, and I ended the series on a cliffhanger. Issue 4 ended on a cliffhanger with the main bad guy holding this thing called the Golden Coin, and I've been wanting to tell the rest of the story for a long time. So what I've done is at the bottom of my campaign, when you scroll all the way down, there's a link to the original series. You can download it for free, issues 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you want to read it, you don't have to. This series is independent. It's a continuation, but in the first 9 pages of this new series will get you all caught up. So if you don't feel like reading a free PDF of 5 issues of a comic, you don't have to. But this is my dream comic. I created this to basically have fun the way I want to have it, and it's basically wish fulfillment. There you go. Those are the links right there. I was checking out the first one. Yeah, I have a paramilitary soldier by the name of Dalton Snipes, codenamed Sniper. So I get to draw guys with big guns and gear and all that fun stuff. I've got a wonderful, beautiful lady tycoon named Geisha, codenamed Geisha. Her name is April Emoto. For all intents and purposes, she is Tony Stark, if Tony Stark was a beautiful woman. I've got a big, giant purple gorilla who's a lot like the Hulk meets the Beast. He's very hyper intelligent, but the angrier he gets, the bigger he gets, and the bigger he gets, the dumber he gets. We're not dumb, but more feral, less logical. I've got an alien by the name of Rascal. His real name is Likum Zemog. He comes from a planet that had been taken over, and he escaped, landed on Earth. And his technology has been used by the Emoto Corp to get ahead in the technology game. Got a character named Raiden, who's a mystic. He's a lot like Doctor Strange. He can go into these crazy worlds. It's almost like a crazy mushroom or acid trip, but he's doing things unseen. And then I got 2 kids. I got Bubble and Spot. Think of them as like Wily Kit and Wily Cat. Bubble has the power. Let's just put it this way: she's the original safe space, but she can protect anybody or defend herself against anybody with these bubbles. And then I got this character named Spot, who has the ability to reach into things like TV sets or magazines or video games and pull the items out. So this adventure takes place after the devil has taken over the earth. A sinkhole has taken place in Dagger City, which is the major metropolis, and all hell breaks loose. And we start the book with Black Flag jumping in and fighting this beast.
Yeah, I got your trailer playing. I don't have the audio playing, but just the video.
That's okay.
Here.
Yeah, this is me in 1994.
I was gonna say it's a young Fraga there.
Look at all that hair. Yeah. And,
Seth MacFarlane there.
Yeah. Boom. I talk about how Todd McFarlane inked my cover. I show the original cover, and then I show boom. The team bursts out. Bullet shells rain down. I give a little bit of a spiel on why I'm bringing the book back, why I'm so excited to bring the book back, which is a dream come true for me, because this is everything that I've wanted to do, and I've been thinking about this story for 25 years. And fortunately for me, these past 25 years, career-wise, I went on to storyboard movies and direct TV shows.
Wow.
I directed 2 seasons of the Ricky Gervais show for HBO.
Oh, wow, cool.
And then I was at Mattel for 5.5 years, directing their features for Monster High, Ever After High, Hot Wheels, and Max Steel. So if you go on Netflix right now, type in Monster High, those are the movies I worked on. Or if you type in Ever After High, those are the movies I worked in.
I'm sure my kid watched some of your Hot Wheels stuff, and I know I watched the Ricky Gervais show. So
yeah, so the beauty of it is that over these 25 years, I learned how to be a better storyteller, better artist. I can take stories and kind of isolate them better. And now this continuation, I feel like the timing is just right. All the things that I had and wanted to do 25 years ago, I actually know what to do with it this time.
So you're not only you're writing and doing the art, correct? Or
yes.
Okay, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, writing and penciling.
Awesome.
And I have a co-writer that's coming in, a guy named Will Perdomo, and then an inker named Shelby Robertson. My colorist is Matt Yackey, and the letterer who I'm really excited about is a guy named Ken Brusnak, and he was the letterer of American Flag, Black Kiss, all the Punishers from the 80s. Incredible letterer. So I'm excited to be working with him as well.
Very cool. Very cool. We got a quick super chat here from where'd it go? It was just $1 tip from Kaylin Bryson. Thank you so much. Good, and you're getting a lot of love in the chat. It looks like I think you made a couple bucks there on your campaign since we started, but hey, every little bit helps. Yeah, like I said, I was checking out the first book a little bit. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
I
did that when I was 20.
So what movies did you work on in the past that we may have seen?
The very first movie I worked on was Transporter 2. I've worked on some duds too. I worked on Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I also worked on Seasons of the Witch, and the one that people really loved the most was Dragon Ball Evolution. Sorry about that one. But I have worked on some Academy Award nominated films like The Fighter,
nice,
with David O. Russell and Christian Bale. So that was a whole lot of fun.
Very cool.
And
very
then
cool.
lot of storyboards and music videos. So if you're like a Taylor Swift fan, you sound like one.
I've seen a few of her videos.
Yeah, like if you see the one Bad Blood,
yeah, I've seen that
like
one.
a bunch of the technology. I designed a lot of the tech in that video. Did storyboards for a bunch of stuff on Reputation, like I want to say Lost in the Woods, but trying to remember the name of the song. But a bunch of her stuff. Got a bunch of other new stuff coming out. A few Super Bowl commercials. So a lot of fun stuff. Thank you, Neil, for not blaming me. And don't blame the director either. Our original script was fantastic. That was filmed in early 2008, and what had happened was there was a writer's strike. If you guys
Yep.
remember the writer's strike of 2008. And another thing happened. There was a Jackie Chan Jet Li movie that had come out that year. And what up? What about? And their movie trailer to the studio. What up, Paul? The movie trailer felt like to the studio that it was very similar to what we were doing, and they decided that they wanted to rewrite the movie, but they didn't. They didn't have any writers, so the studio executives thought that they could do it. So they started coming in when we were 2/3 of the way shooting, and they were rewriting, and none of these guys were writers. So that kind of screwed the movie all up.
Oh, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Captain Hare sent us $5. Rob?
Oh no.
What's that?
Captain
What is that?
Captain Hare, $5. I'm ready. Bring on the Star Trek. Give me Rob's suffering to mitigate my own. We must all suffer for Les Moonves' sins.
Captain Hare enjoys seeing Rob suffer over Star Trek. We'll get to Star Trek here in a little bit. I promise.
We got a guy here that's done like actual stuff, and here I am on the internet, for jeez, like I'm like a big dope. Come on.
Besides Black Flag, what other stuff comics and stuff have you worked on that our audience may have seen before?
Wolverine, Spider-Man, Superman, Bloodstrike, Kid Supreme, Witchblade, Black Panther, lots of
Very
different-
cool, very cool. And of course, you can be found hanging around with a lot of others like Ethan, and I've seen you hanging around with Cecil and those guys too.
Yeah, I've known Ethan since 1995. In fact, I did some a variant cover for Cyberfrog #2 way back in '96. I was featured rapping in Cyberfrog as myself with a Black Flag hat on and everything. So a lot of fun.
So yeah, some of our audience is obviously familiar with you, but for those who just are getting to know this man, check out his YouTube channel, and I'm sure you'll see him roaming around. And do check out his Indiegogo as well. Both links are in the description, and I've been dropping the link for the Indiegogo as well in the chat. Tiberius Mononoke sent us $2, or should I say £2?
Yeah, £2. Does Dan know what the budget for Dragon Ball was?
I don't. I had no idea what the budget was.
Sander Hammerschlag says, wasn't Black Flag a Henry Rollins band?
Black Flag was a Henry Rollins band from what I understand. In fact, back in 1995, and this is the reason why the series had halted, was I was aware of Henry Rollins, but I was not aware of Black Flag as a band. I knew Henry Rollins as a spoken word guy and loved his spoken word, but I received a letter from the Black Flag band to cease and desist my comic because they thought there would be some confusion regarding the band and the comic. So I ceased and desist my comic, and it's been 25 years and they never made a comic, which means I'm free and clear to make my comic.
See, now I was like, I was wondering, was Henry Rollins still involved? Because I know he was like the third singer in by the time he was the singer. Because you had Keith Morris, who's one of the singers from Black Flag, who went on to the Circle Jerks. There's another one, Dez. Oh wow, I'm not remembering names. If Pete were here, he'd know exactly every name of every singer from Black Flag. So I was under the impression that Henry Rollins was the third singer, but.
Neil says, I'll say this, the Comicsgate comics have made me more interested in comics than I have been in a long time. Yeah, there's been some really good stuff coming out. I know I've been backing as many as I can. We've had Cecil on, of course. We got to get Anthony on again. We haven't had him on in a while. Who else have we had on, Rob? We've had a few people on. Anna, of course, and a few others. But yeah, I'm all for this type of thing because unlike the thing that unlike being part of the fandom menace and whatnot, it's not an easy thing to go out and make a movie. We can't just go make a Star Wars movie. But being part of Comicsgate, the best part is you guys can just go make your comics. I mean, it's a tangible thing that's reachable, from a level where you guys are at, to where you're just going to go, hey, I'm going to go make a comic, and then like you do here, you just throw out the Indiegogo, you promote yourself, and you get it out there. And there's been a lot of great stuff that's come out. I mean, obviously EBS had a lot of attention with Cyberfrog and stuff like that. Rob's even got a Cyberfrog t-shirt, don't you?
Yeah, I bought it the night they announced. What did they announce, Mecca?
We were watching the live Marvel Phase 4 Comic-Con announcement, and Natalie Portman comes out with her skinny little arms trying to lift up Mjolnir, and you're like, that's it, I'm buying a Cyberfrog t-shirt.
Rad.
I also need Andre to say Mjolnir on a soundboard.
Mjolnir. I don't know how he says it.
Freaking say it.
Mjolnir.
Yeah, I'm butchering it.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure we are too. But so check out his book, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. But so Dan, are you a Star Trek fan at all?
I like the original series, and I'm a big Next Gen fan, with Inner Light being my favorite episode. I wanted to start watching Deep Space Nine. I watched some stuff on Lit Dev this morning, Literacy Devil, and Avery Brooks was on. They had a thing with Avery Brooks, and I really like him. So I thought I would check out Deep Space Nine, but I'm a OG Star Trek and Next Gen guy.
Oh yeah, we've had Literature Devil on too. I forgot about.
And if you're a fan of Avery Brooks, absolutely check out DS9, because he is my favorite captain just because of his performance in DS9. Absolutely.
Awesome. But so anyway, we've got an announcement, and we've been talking about this.
Is it really an official announcement, or is this we're trying to make this a thing?
Yeah, it's an official announcement, but
every 5 weeks they throw one out.
Yeah.
Well, it was on the official CBS Viacom website for press releases that they put all the press releases on. So it's an official announcement. Professor Afonso, I think that's Brazilian reals. I am from Brazil. Love your work. How can I believe in a new Star Trek series if Kurtzman keeps announcing something that doesn't happen?
That's very true. And Andre's going to talk about this. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
That's a very good question. I am just exhausted thinking about it. So we get this announcement. Okay, this says, the fans made this happen. The fans made this happen. The fans made this happen. Anson Mount, we've been saying, is the best thing that happened to Star Trek Discovery. I mean, but even that, the bar is very low. Just because you're the best, it's like being the best player on the Cleveland Browns. So, I mean, yeah, he's Baker Mayfield. He's got a shit team around him, but he's still, the team's still terrible. So, a message loud and clear from Starfleet Command: give the people what they want. You haven't. Why should we believe you now? You haven't been giving anybody what they wanted. With CBS All Access initiating new Star Trek shows with the frequency of a fertile tribble, many fans have been left wondering why there was no movement on the series, just itching to leave the space dock. On Friday, actors Anson Mount, Ethan Pecker-Spock, and Rebecca Romijn, I always like butchering that name, Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine Lettuce.
Yeah, Rebecca Romijn. As a buddy of mine, Donnie, used to call her the future Mrs. Donnie Salvo. She doesn't know it yet. Announced via social media that the rosters were on for a Pike and Spock show, which will be called Star Trek Strange New Worlds. You figure, did somebody actually find out that there was already a show called Enterprise? And they were like, oh shit, we can't use that name anymore.
Hey, yeah. They probably really were going with Enterprise now that I think about it.
They were. Kurtzman came to us, bad news, guys. There's already a show called Enterprise.
Yeah, it went on for really? 4 years.
Since when? Oh, you know anything about this? No. Oh, Okay, Strange New Worlds. Oh, okay. After a tumultuous first season, Star Trek Discovery settled into a nice groove in season 2. I'm sorry, that's funny. Having
The Dead Baby Heads was a nice groove.
Severed baby heads.
Severed baby heads. Thanks.
Having a consistent showrunner helped, as did a steady hand of Mount's Captain Pike. Coming in, mixing optimism and humor. Pike, who held the center seat of the USS Enterprise prior to William Shatner's Captain Kirk, has been a part of the show's history since the beginning. Not true. But has never been a focal point of a series or film. Mount's portrayal alongside Pecker Spock's young Pecker Spock, stepbrother of Discovery lead Sonika Martin, Mitchell Green, Burnham, whatever the hell her name is these days, and Romina Midgeon's Steely, number 1, her name is number 1, and her actual name is Una.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're so not creative. Not only that, they still think the Cage is canon. It's like for the unaired pilot. It was unaired for a reason. Yeah, it's like a workaround of canon, but it was so bad it wasn't even a show.
So we're gonna get a whole season of a show that's basically a remake of the Cage.
Pretty much.
I'm tired of them being stuck on the Cage.
Anyways, it was quickly embraced by fans with regular announcements of new Star Trek programs. Patrick Stewart's Picard, Section 31. Section 31 still not a show, dumbass. Focused on Michelle Yeoh, Emperor Georgiou, 2 animated series, and more still in the wraps. That will never happen. Many puzzled over why Star Trek Major Domo, Alex Kurtzman, oh, for God's sake, wasn't nurturing Discovery's already clicking B story. Turns out the suits were listening. To one non-initiated in Trek lore, yes, this might be a tad confusing. Luckily, visiting professors from Vulcan Science Academy, Ethan Peck. Okay, this is Ethan Peck is playing Spot. Okay, this is going over the. Okay, you know what? I'm bored of this article already. Okay, all right. Here's the thing. You keep saying, you said now you're giving fans what they want. Fans wanted a series post Nemesis. They wanted a series post Nemesis. We know what happens to Captain Pike. He ends up in a wheelchair. Okay. There's going to be no stakes for this at all. I like Anson Mount. I like Anson Mount as Captain Pike. But you know what? This is a road to nowhere. This really is. And you have the same gang of idiots working on this as you do the other shows. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? We're going to get more garbage. Garbage in, garbage out.
Sorry, Dan. Rob gets very, very, very passionate about Star Trek.
Wait till I start in on it. Wait till I start in on this one, man.
Okay, before we get too deep into this, Rob, we got a couple super chats here.
Tim Scorpion, 5. Dada. I heard Disney was going to censor Leia's slave outfit in episode 6, DP Disney Plus release. Fuck Disney. How could they?
Well, they could.
Well, I don't know. Computer animate like a midsection to cover her belly?
Probably.
No, they'll probably just pan in and pan around her so you only see her face.
You know, stop desexualizing everything. You know, they're
desexualizing grown adults, and then they're coming in like with She-Ra, and they're sexualizing the children because you have these grown-ass adult women children who are 30 years old living at home in their mommies and their childhood bedrooms with mommy writing for the freaking Mary Sue. And that's why we have movies like Unicorn Store to
Princess Week.
To pander to these women. Yeah, you have that type of stuff, and you have the new She-Ra, and you have all this stuff because they want to overly sexualize these children's things because they're kind of in between women and children.
DCB Titan, I already played the Canadian sound effect. $2 Canadian. The bar solo, even Hermes couldn't limbo on it.
You get to play it again though, Rob.
Oh, that's a funny Dex Luther, there are 180 people watching. Why do you only see 72 likes? Smash the like button. It's free, which is a great price. That's right, people.
Not only that, Dex just paid $5 to tell you that.
And Canadian $5.
And Canadian at that, right? So that's not cheap,
and if you
right?
super chat enough, then we'll play.
That's a lot of money.
Deer PSA about why you don't want to be a deer.
You could rent half of the band of Rush for $5.
Alex Leifson?
People keep.
I love you, Script Doctor.
A lot of people keep asking me, "Do you like Rush? Do you like Rush?" I said, "I like that one song that goes no, which is every song."
Well, Tom Sawyer doesn't sound like
I was
that.
gonna say Tom Sawyer, but Tom Sawyer is the only song of theirs that doesn't sound like they made it.
Yeah, but that was written by their drummer, so I mean, it's a really good song.
I don't.
It's a great song.
It's a great song. I like them.
Yeah. Let's go to our special guest. Okay, Fraga Boom, have you seen Star Trek Discovery at all?
Not a single one. That's the Janeway one, right?
No, that's the new one.
No, Voyager's the Janeway one. It's good. It's decent enough, but yeah.
Voyager's a lot better now after 20 odd years have passed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I didn't hate it then. It was my favorite one then because of what they did with 7 of 9. She was an amazing character just to be destroyed in Picard. And
her character actually gave some focus to Janeway as a character because she was all over the place in that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that Star Trek, just to sum up what they've done to Star Trek used to be this inspirational, hopeful, optimistic thing. It was a world where you could aspire to be as a human, where you thought, hey, humanity is going to be okay, and we evolved past all this bullshit that we're going through in our day-to-day lives. And now it's a world I want to escape from because they're not characters that I'm inspired by. They're characters that I'm better than. And I don't want to be better than the characters that I'm seeing on TV who are supposed to inspire me. It's a world I want to escape from, not to.
I'll believe this one.
I just did a quick Google search. I'm looking for the promotional poster, CBS All Access, and I just ran across a TrekMovie.com piece. Exclusive, Wilson Cruz, that's Ricky from Star Trek Discovery. Wilson Cruz promises exploration and an epic love story in Star Trek Discovery Season 2. How long have they been promising this? And they still can't get it right.
They keep saying that it's going to be hopeful and optimistic. They keep saying all these things. They keep saying all these buzzwords. They also said Picard was supposed to be more cerebral. And what was it? It was a bang bang shoot 'em up, 7 of 9 dual wielding phaser pistols or blasters. Basically, she's basically got blasters because
I call them pew pews.
Yeah, they're pew pews, and it's not cerebral. It's not any
10 episodes of killing Picard and replacing him with an android.
Yeah,
in the slowest way possible.
Yeah,
okay, enough of this. This makes me smile, Rob.
What is it?
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh,
this is only in the UK for now, but
damn.
But 4K is region free, and you never know it'll probably get a US release as well. But
oh yeah,
look at this bastard.
Has anyone found out who dubbed over Sam Jones's voice for that movie yet?
No.
They dubbed Sam Jones?
Yeah.
That's a trap.
That's not his voice in Flash Gordon.
No.
Didn't know that.
I am so disillusioned.
You a fan of Flash Gordon, Fraga?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the show when I was a kid, and I liked the comic. And I've met Sam Jones a couple times at conventions. Nice guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Tom, the picture I put in the chat. Can you share that with our audience?
This better not be porn, Rob.
No, it's not porn. Robert Meyer Burnett. I can't find a larger picture phrasing. But okay, exploration of Star Trek New World, Strange New Worlds. Exploration is a promise.
It's almost like they got to put it in the advertisement now. Like, seriously, guys, they are going to explore something this time. We promise.
But it is.
They haven't so far.
3 seasons of Star Trek under Kurtzman, and one of these days they're going to explore something.
But exploration is a promise. CBS All Access, all original fall 20. There's going to be no All Access by fall 2021. Okay, it's going to be rolled into something new, into a new service. But take a look in Anson Mount's right hand.
Yeah, phaser rifle.
Yeah, he's holding a phaser.
A pew pew.
We come in peace, shoot to kill. Did they not know that Star Trekkin' was a parody?
Okay, I got to bring this
Parody
up.
song.
Moot Point says Flesh Gordon was better than that remake reboot. I discovered Flesh Gordon existed one night because I thought I was recording Flash Gordon off of Cinemax. One letter, folks. One letter. I set my timer. I recorded. I wasn't disappointed. I just started watching like, this ain't Flash Gordon.
But you still watch.
As memory serves, didn't that first one have like an opening crawl about how this is a parody?
It might have. I mean, this was like mid-90s when I taped it, and it was in the middle of the night, so I just thought, well, that's odd that they're showing Flash Gordon in the middle of the night, but I don't have it. I want to tape it. You know, I didn't know. I never knew it existed until then.
Nemco's in the chat says, exploration for what? More stock images, more feelings, more stolen lines?
Pretty much.
Well, it's clearly a Photoshop still of Anson Mount there, because they haven't shot anything for the series.
Well, it might even be like an output.
They can't even film anything for the series to even have it out by the time CBS All Access is like even gone, right? Like,
well, we all know what Kurtzman's MO is. He pitches a ton of stuff in the hopes that something gets greenlit, and eventually, when the walls start closing down around him, it's his method of preserving his job. It's his job security. Well, you can't cancel everything. We have all this stuff in the pipeline. It's already in the works. It's already paid for. You can't cancel it now.
well, and look at this though. My first thought was, is this going to be some sort of a compromise for like any more seasons of Discovery and that fucking Section 31 show that they keep making? Because like they already have all the sets, they have everything built, they have the costumes, they have the cast, at least the principal cast. All they'd have to do is go in and recast Scotty, which they could probably just get Chris Duhan or somebody to play him again. Not that I don't think they could, because he played Scotty in Star Trek Continues. So.
I gotta think. Here's something I just pieced together. I put two and two together. Now, remember the end of season 2, that joke of an ending where the Discovery goes up a wormhole, the giant anus in space, and goes to 1,000 years in the future, and then everybody and their big solution to the tying up all the loose end is nobody's supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, under penalty of death or something like that.
Yeah,
we don't talk about Discovery.
Never mind that everybody's seen the ship, everybody has relatives on the ship.
There's two things we don't talk about.
Yeah.
There's two things we don't talk about, all right? Discovery and Fight Club. End of discussion.
Never mind that, Michael Burnham started a war with the Klingon Empire. And,
Who?
Yeah.
Who? I'm kidding. All right, now, this show is so stupid, Dan. I'm sorry you had to live through this.
That's not stupid. It's interesting. Makes me want to watch and not want to watch certain things.
It's almost worth a watch just for the memes, just to see Spock and his I like science.
But
the sad is that the concept is good, but we know it's going to be executed poorly.
But this whole thing about we listen to the fans, something's not right, because the final episode of season 2 of STD, we call it STD around here, Dan, because it's like an STD. It makes you angry. It's
they're the idiots who called it Star Trek Discovery, not us.
Yeah, it makes you bitter, remorseful. It's irritating. It just won't go away, and it's the result of not having any good information and bad decisions. And it spreads among younger people who don't know better.
You have to call your friends.
Penicillin can't kill it.
You have to call your friends and let them know you watched it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they might have to go to the doctor if they watched it as well.
Right.
Yeah. So it sure sounds like an STD to me. But the whole thing is that episode, the final episode of season 2 of STD, was written to me as a series finale, and they wrote it as if the crew of the Enterprise
I like that background
carrying on.
I was back here stacking these gold bricks up. It took a while. Sorry about
those.
That.
Are big ass gold bricks.
Yeah,
that's how we do.
Did it Three Stooges style, upside down.
Yeah.
What was the other alternative?
Like a tower. It's a tower.
He's the man with the Midas touch.
What were you saying, Mecca?
Oh no! They always get mad at us, and they're like, "It's disco." That's not better. Then you can go back to the shirts that say "disco sucks." Like,
Yeah, that's no better. The only good thing about disco was the cocaine.
I like the music.
I know. I do. I like
big
some
fan.
music. Yes.
Big
Yeah.
fan.
Oh,
of
I
disco.
know. It's just the
What is
meme
even better
of
is when some of the
sucks.
rock bands took a venture into disco because, like, they actually did some pretty good songs, like
Hey,
Kiss
my
and
favorite
shit.
Kiss song is "I Was Made for
Yeah,
Love."
I was made for loving you, baby.
Or Leo Sayer.
Yeah,
They went
there
from
you go.
disco- They went from disco to like sweet loving music.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of it did segue into the 80s pop, don't get me wrong, but it has its place. Anyhow, so while we're on the subject of just pure insanity, Mecca, why don't you share this video that you and Rob put together so we can talk about this craziness on Twitch? Because Dan has no clue what we're talking about, but you're aware of what Twitch is, right? The platform.
It's
the
a streaming platform for games and live streaming and such.
So evidently there's this person who identifies as a deer.
Like what? Like a dear old person, or like
No, a
Fuck or a no?
DER.
Antlers.
With antlers, and you
Bambi.
know they like to go out into their yard and eat grass. And,
Bambi.
Yeah, should we play that first before we show the PSA?
If you have it handy, I couldn't find it.
Yeah. Let me find it. I think I
Okay,
have it
but
right.
yeah, but basically that's not even the issue. That would be one thing that's fine, dandy, whatever, no big deal. You do you, boo, whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is this person is what do you call it? They're
A furry?
They're the new Twitch safety council member. Well,
they work for Twitch or whatever. Yeah,
Oh, they
that's what I was trying
work
to-
for Twitch.
Yeah, they work for Twitch. Let me find the other
Hold
one.
on, I gotta go to the office real quick. I gotta get some copies back here in the copier. Just,
All right.
all right. I got him.
Maybe I want my stapler back. Give me my stapler.
I was supposed to get the cake, and last time I did not get the
I
cake.
didn't get any cake.
There you go. That bottom one is it's kind of some of their not harmful behavior where they just if you want to share that before I share my screen here.
All right, let's do the. So this person identifies as a deer,
Yeah.
and they hold an executive position at Twitch.
Well, yes, but that's not really the problem. It doesn't, the problem isn't the fact that they identify as a male deer. The problem isn't the fact that they're transgendered. The problem I have is that in that first link I sent you.
You sent me a link?
Well, okay.
No, she sent it to me.
Wait,
Yeah,
it's a doe, a deer, a female deer.
Well, this is some of the stuff that they do that's harmless, where they're basically having a little deergasm on stream. That's fine,
Cute.
Yeah, you do you, sweetie.
Yeah,
But what I have a problem with is when they decided that all male gamers were pretty much white supremacists. That's
what? Hold on. What?
yeah.
Have your fun.
That's
Have
the
your
next
fun.
one.
No,
Clip right here, Tom.
I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. It's really not that. I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists. Sorry. Just a fact.
I think my opinion is just a fact. Is it a fact that that's their opinion, or that their opinion is a fact?
That's a good question.
Because that doesn't make any sense. Opinions don't make facts.
They got caught spewing their bullshit, basically. And of course, because this person is transgendered and because this person is whatever, they're using that as a way to say people are attacking me on the internet. And even Newsweek ran an article about this, instead of, the fact that, okay, you just, hey, your customer, your community, if you're a Twitch safety ambassador designed to keep people safe, maybe know the difference between somebody who's an actual white supremacist and a 7-year-old screaming the N-word in Call of Duty. There's a difference between kids being assholes, which is still not cool. It's still not a cool thing to do, but not everybody's a white supremacist.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's not cool.
Well, I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all.
Well, no one
it's
is.
really not that.
Right?
I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists.
Or at least sane people, anyway. Yeah.
Sorry.
Gamers are actually white
Just a
supremacists.
fact.
Yeah, you're not supposed
About how I feel, which isn't a no. I'm just
the
not cool with white
It's
supremacy,
the
y'all.
fact of how
It's really not that. I think
I'm
a
trying
lot
to
of
understand
gamers
their
are
background.
actually
Is
white
that like a
supremacists.
green screen thing that
Sorry.
they're
Yeah.
leaning on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think they
think-
have like a green
I think
screen.
the chair is also
How
a
I
green
feel.
screen as
Yeah.
well.
Which isn't cool. No, I'm just not cool with white supremacy.
fact of
y'all.
how
It's really not that. I
whatever
think a lot
feels.
of you gamers are actually white
I don't
supremacists.
know quote downs.
Sorry,
Burn it down.
just a fact.
Yeah,
And
so,
this person
um,
identifies as a deer, but I'm not convinced until I see how they react when headlights are flashed upon them.
Well, not only that, they were having people banned in the chat and all kinds of stuff. So she's basically he, she, whatever. This fucking dear lord person was just going crazy, banning people on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, there's new footage surfacing where she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to use any bit of power I can to get back at you," basically. But Rob and I made a little public service video
Let's
about
see
this.
it. Let's see it. Let's go.
Hey, Twitch streamers. Have you ever considered identifying as a deer?
No, not
Well,
really.
before you decide to join Otocoilas virginiana, here's some important safety information. You live outdoors. No fancy indoor plumbing for you. No phones, no lights, no motor cars. Not a single luxury. That means no fancy computers to actually stream on. It's not like you have thumbs to play video games anyway. Speaking of which, you don't have thumbs. You can't use cell phones, tie your shoelaces, or use the 3 seashells. Too bad. You have to fend for
Seashells.
yourself and eat what you can find. No
from
ordering
Demolition Man.
deer don't eat pizza. You now need to pay attention to when deer season is. But bad news, deer can't read.
Mm.
Wow, didn't know being a deer was so hard. So, you're glad you're a human. Stay that way.
This has been a public service announcement in the interest of public safety, paid for by the committee to stop people from wanting to become deer.
Oh,
deer also
dear.
can't speak.
Oh, dear is indeed. Whoop. I just
I got
accidentally
kicked.
removed Fraga.
Dad jokes. I get booted just like
No,
that.
I meant to
Oh, dear.
remove the video, and
I'm out.
she did it
I'm
too
out.
at the same time.
Yeah, I put him in the video.
No, you're blowing shit up in the background there. It looks.
Yeah, I want to blow that whole story up. It's ridiculous. Bye bye, dear.
Yeah, I
Lord.
made
What's strange
Rob
is that
voice over that.
A person identifying as an animal of some sort usually is something I read in comic books, and they become a supervillain.
Yeah. I want you to know something right now. This is my public service announcement. I do not identify as a rabbit. I am dressed as a rabbit because it is a stretch goal, and I'm a man of integrity. And I said, once I hit 100K, I will wear the bunny suit in any stream I'm in until we hit 200K. So here I am.
In fact, it was like the first or second thing he said to me.
Man,
Like, I will wear the bunny suit.
I will wear the bunny suit, and here I am.
Well, I very much admire your commitment to staying true to your stretch goal limit. That's awesome. Also, I'm assuming that bunny suit is rather comfortable.
It's warm. Sometimes it's too warm.
Mm.
And I had last week I had a kidney stone, and they gave me Percocet, so I had Percocet sweats. So whoever becomes the next owner of this will put it on and probably get really high.
Well, because isn't that part of your deal is you're going to give it away to somebody?
Yes, when we hit over, when the tick goes from one whatever number it is, 199 and change to 200, whoever did that contribution gets the suit.
So you're not going to watch it for them.
No, I've been advised to not wash it because apparently my funk is a value.
Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
nobody wants something that somebody's touched. That's
I mean, if I bought something from Prince, I want his fucking sweat on it, yo.
That's right.
Right?
And
Exactly.
I do shower every day and I smell nice.
So it might smell better than you think.
Mm.
or you can clone him.
Yeah, it's true.
There's that.
But this is the Ralphie suit. The way this happened was I was on a stream about a half hour before I launched. They asked me, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel like Ralphie on Christmas morning, hoping that I get a Red Ryder BB gun." I wanted the campaign to go well, and they said, "You need a pink bunny stretch goal." And I said, "Yeah, okay," not thinking that it would happen. And then talking to Cecil and John Malin, they basically talked me into this long term. Instead of just me wearing it in one stream, I have to wear it in all of the streams. So here I am. There's a lot of dead air, ladies and gentlemen. Are we still alive? Right now, you're
Yes,
looking.
probably forgot to unmute.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm like, man,
I was just letting you talk.
I heard. I was like, why are there crickets? Yeah. So this. Can you hit refresh? Are we at the same number?
No, I think I haven't refreshed it in a while. Let's actually
hit refresh because I want to tell you about my dream.
Oh, nothing yet. But
Nothing happened. I have a dream to get to $112,000 and over $648. Even if it's $649, you'll be satisfying a small childhood dream. Cecil taught me about this last night. We were on a stream together, and he'd said, "I told my mom when I was a little boy," and then he'd come up with a total. I wish I was at 112,649, and then she beat me, and I've had that scar ever since. So please, help heal me. But that's Cecil's thing. No, we want to get to 125. 125 unlocks 3 new trading cards for the trading card add-on, and the big number for me that I'm really hoping to hit is 150. 2 reasons. I don't know if you can see because I am a rabbit and I don't have fingers, but here's some fingers. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, the rabbit suit gets bedazzled with rhinestones at 150. So we'll get a lot shinier and blingier. And then more important, at 150, we unlock a brand new freebie that is the Black Flag 0.5 issue that will ship for free with every book order. So if you ordered the book and we hit 150, you get 2 books automatically. You get the 0.5 issue, which will be an additional origin story, which is not unlike the issue 0. It's 0.5, some more origin stories featuring artwork by new up-and-coming sensations like Rob Willis, David Pahikainen, Matt Weldon, some other new guys, old schoolers like Pat Lee, Shelby Robertson, Dietrich Smith, Carl Altstetter, and Logan Libera, and also a fan art section featuring fan art from a bunch of the people in the Couch Doodles fan group on Facebook.
Cool.
That's
Now, do you mind if I ask you? Now, do you mind if I ask you a question about the current state of the comic book industry?
You can ask me any question you want, man. Any question.
Okay, well, just as someone, this is kind of a general thing.
Sure.
Forget about, let's not talk about the movies and TV because that's another side of it. Just looking at what's going on with Marvel and DC. I mean, how do you feel about the industry just crumbling and how it's gotten to this point? Because they've had a pretty big hand in the collapse, but they're the last guys who seem to know it.
Yeah, the way I equated it early on was like I wanted to make a video, and I don't have all the time in the world to make videos, but I have a lot of brain power to come up with ideas, and I imagined Jenga pieces, right? Somebody doing Jenga pieces, and one of the hands is Joe Simon, and you got Will Eisner, and you got all these comic legends, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, building the Jenga tower, right? And they're building this nice sturdy tower, and you got Spider-Man and Batman and all these things, and that's the comic industry. And suddenly you get all of these sort of shitty wokey style comics. I call them wokies. I don't call them SJWs because there's no justice in what they do. It's all about control. Wokies come along and they systematically, like this is one of the things my friend and I talk about. Evil doesn't create, it appropriates, right? Like they never take something and make something from nothing. They have to take something that exists and appropriate it and change it. So then just imagine that that's a finger flicking out pieces of this Jenga puzzle, flicking them out, disrespect, flicking them out. no respect for the audience, no respect for the character, no respect for the history. There's still some good comics in there, but this has happened probably in the last 5 years. And suddenly you get this wobbly structure, right? It's no longer this sturdy structure that was built by greats. And then along comes this wind that looks a lot and smells a lot like COVID. And it goes, and the whole thing goes.
Yeah.
And there's other problems too. It's not just the content. I feel like there was a little bit of advantage taking, especially by Marvel. I'm going to call out Marvel specifically because I have a lot of retailer friends. And when I say retailer friends, I'm talking about guys that created Free Comic Book Day. Hold on a second. I got to answer this.
No, that's all right.
Answer this text. My buddy created Free Comic Book Day. Another buddy of mine has this mailer called Comic Shop News that goes across all the comic book stores. And I go into his shop. I go into my buddy's shop because I love comics. I love the comic industry. I've been, living, breathing comics since I was 11
Went up
years
a little
old.
bit.
What's that?
So it went up a little bit.
Oh, awesome. My dream, guys. You fuck yeah.
They listen.
I felt good. Thank you so much, man.
Jeff, we make dreams come true.
You guys make dreams come true. So I go into my buddy's shop and I said, "Hey man, do you happen to have this cover?" And he said, "Yeah, we got one, but we sold it already." And I said, "What? You only got one?" He said, Yeah. Marvel makes me buy like 100 of this comic to get one of those covers." I said, "They make you buy 100 of this thing to get one of those things?" He said, "Yeah." I said, that's like fake numbers. Like they have fake, like they can say, "Look, we sold this much of this comic," but it's not a real number because they're dangling this carrot. They're dangling a carrot and they're fattening up other numbers of books that fucking suck by dangling these other desirable items. So there's that, the taking advantage of the comic book retailer that's there to blame. And my whole thing, and the thing I talk about regarding the comic market, is that there's a the prioritization is all screwed up. And what I mean by that is very simple. If a publisher would stop thinking of the retailer as their customer and start thinking of the customer as their customer, they would do a whole lot better, because all the publisher is trying to do is sell more books to the retailer. So they create these events, they create these fat buy 100 get one situations that basically the end of the road, the dollar that's being spent is the retailers. Now the retailer is stuck basically having to try to sell this shit. The stuff anything that's good sells itself. I'm sorry. Like it's straight up fact. Anything that's good, it sells itself. Word of mouth still works. I find out about good shit. I find out about good comics when they're good. They still exist. I find out about them because someone gets them. They talk about it. I go, hell yeah, that's dope. Or I go into a store. I still would scan, grab things, flip through them. Good stuff goes home with me. Bad stuff doesn't. Sad part is there's not a lot of good stuff. But these publishers are not thinking of the customer first. And the distributors is pretty much the middleman. The publishers create their content and the distributor distributes their stuff. But I really feel for the retailer. I really feel for the customers. I have to give my baby a kiss. Hold on.
No problem.
Okay.
Hi, sweetie.
Aw.
Oh, Abubus, you going bed? I love you.
Aw.
I love you, sweetie.
Well, since we're distracted real quick, why don't you get that super chat, Rob?
DCV Titan, $10 Canadian. You're against white supremacy, so stunning and brave. Then you'll tell me purchasing people is wrong, and speaking out about the religion of peace is Yahtzee speak. Also, look into getting Streamlabs. Get the Canadian here. Okay, I want to follow up that you said something very interesting. They have to look at the end customer, not as the comic shops as the customer.
Yeah.
Heather Antos, who works for Valiant, doesn't seem to see eye to eye on with you on that. She's actually said we are not customer service representatives.
She's wrong.
I think
She's
it's
wrong,
insane.
man. She's wrong.
Let me tell you a little bit of something that happens to somebody like me, who's more of a Star Trek fan, but I'm kind of expanding because I see comics and movies and I see all this stuff. Well, when I see people like Heather, whatever her name is, or Gail Simone, or any of these people spouting off on Twitter, what happens? I don't want to have anything to do with their comic book companies.
Well,
I don't want to support them. I don't want to buy their books. I don't want to do
There's a whole problem with the prioritization of things. And one of the main reasons I decided to say I'm Comicsgate is because I definitely believe in customer first. When I read tweets, I'm not going to name names, but I'm not going to support a writer that says, if you voted for Trump, fuck off. I personally didn't vote for the guy, but I also don't care how you exercise your American right. I want you to exercise your American right. That's that it's to be American is to vote and to exercise your right. So I don't care who you voted for. If my candidate doesn't win, I'm not going to have sour grapes and tell you to fuck off and alienate half of the customer base. The other guys that say, and again, I'm not going to name names, but the other guys who say things like, my client is not the customer, it's the publisher. The publisher writes my checks. I do what they say to do. Well, guess what, man? You still need to think the customer. You want people to read your books, man. Write books they want to read. And Heather Antos, I'm sorry. Whatever got you angry at comic book fans. I'm sorry, whatever got you angry with the customer, but as a company that provides a service to customers, you need to provide customer service. Do not treat the retailer as a middleman. Do not treat them as your ambassador. Obviously, retailers are there. They're our friends. They create a lot of the magic that we experience. Like, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for my retailers, I probably wouldn't have found a lot of the things I found, especially in my younger years. I have great love for the retailers, but there's no respect for them. There's no respect for the publishers or for the customer from the publishers. I think that's the major problem. And when you say you're not customer service, it's clear you're not. It's clear you're not, just by the product you make.
Right. And it's really weird because we brought this up before too, Dan, and I think it's really odd that we've reached a point where comic book movies are bigger than ever.
Yeah.
And they can't sell shit for books. And I bring up the example, look what happened after Batman came out in 89. Comic books were selling millions of copies, not just thousands or hundreds of thousands, but millions of copies.
Yeah.
It's just nuts and insane that we've gotten to this point. And speaking of the Ricky Gervais show, I think you may have seen this before, but this is brilliant. And I think this says exactly what you said in so many words too. And this is our buddy Ethan here going off. I'm sure you've seen this, and if you haven't, though, this is awesome.
About pop culture. Okay, the people who like Star Wars, the people who like Dungeons and Dragons, the people who like video games and comic books, these are smart people. So the culture that they're taking in is vital. This is a battleground. What we teach our boys, what we teach our smart, exceptional, special boys, it's important. Are we teaching them the
and ladies
Thundercats?
Yeah.
Or are we showing them the Cal Arts soy-based pussy version of it? Are we mocking masculinity?
Have you seen this before, Fraga?
Cherishing it, we're making it cool. We're giving these boys something to aspire to. That's what all of this stuff means. These are the things that actually shape our ideas of what it means to be a man. And if these social justice warriors, these soy boys can get in there and they can monkey with it and they can change it and they can make it embarrassing to be a man, if they can demasculinize and de-penis Luke Skywalker, put him in a bathrobe as a failure, somebody who gives up and literally sucks on sea monster tit instead of fighting the first war, which is what he should be doing. What kind of message does that send to our boys? How are boys supposed to grow up without Luke Skywalker? How are boys supposed to grow up if Batman is sitting there whining about Selena Kyle all day long? Boys don't have the role models that they used to have because the most incredibly depressed, mentally ill weirdos have taken complete control of our pop culture, and they're ruining it. You want to pump out more soy boys that look like Will Wheaton? This is the inevitable result of all of this. This is where we're going. This is why we fight so hard. These boys need heroes. They need masculine role models. They need heroes, people who don't sit around and cry and mope and whine, people who put themselves last, who put heroism, their country first. It's so important. I know it seems silly to cry about Captain Marvel or Star Wars or The Last Jedi. You can't stop until they change what they're doing, until they wake up and realize that they're destroying people. They're taking away our balls. Our boys are growing up.
It's so soft.
Because they don't know any better.
This isn't even the one I wanted to share. But
yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I wanted the other one.
The one with Cecil, where it's a wonderful point where he says, in the apex of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you've got everybody whose eyes are on Iron Man and the Avengers, you take Tony Stark out of the comic. Like, why would you do that?
Here it is. Sorry about that. And check out Michael Bancroft. He's a guy who does these, I believe.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What were you going to say, Rob?
I just wanted to ask. I mean, what is it though? I mean, it just seems like there's a glorious lack of talent. That the best these guys can come, these guys and gals can come up with in the comic book industry now is just cheap copy and paste versions of the original heroes. Everything they do is just a pale imitation of the original.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand what it is. You know, like we can theorize all we want. I honestly believe that there's some sort of culture war going on. Like, I think to a certain degree, there's probably a middle ground at some point, because you don't want everything to be 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger Rambo, even though I love those movies. But at the same time, you can't tell a kid that he's toxic because he wants to play hero. You know, that's the other thing that I really don't dig, is this sort of like, if you don't like our way, then you're all of these things that are like vitriolic names, like, you know, racist or homophobic or misogynistic, things like that. I believe that people have their right to their opinions, you know, and if something's crap, it's crap. Like, for me, you know, I've had this discussion. For me, it's about the execution. You know, the execution of ideas is crucial. You can introduce ideas that are controversial. You know, we had Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil doing Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and tackling issues of racism, and it didn't feel ham-fisted. It didn't feel like I was being preached to. I felt like it was very resonant. I thought a lot about it afterwards. I liked the story, but I wasn't told you're a white man in America, you're bad, you should feel bad. You know, those sort of things. Like, I don't know. I just feel I have to agree with probably about 90% of what Ethan said in even the toxic masculinity one. I feel at having 2 sons and 2 daughters, I feel like there's plenty of room to show a man how to respect a lady. Of course, we want that, but not in a way where it demasculates a man. Like, I'm definitely not down for that.
Well, yeah, male masculinity is the ability to respect and be responsible and held accountable to your own actions.
Yeah.
That's what masculinity is.
Well,
and to further add to your point,
in the definition, go ahead.
And to further add to your point, when it comes from publishers saying, "Hey, to these writers, write stories like this," a good writer will look at it as an opportunity to tell a really great story, and a bad writer will just take it verbatim and churn out the stuff that we've been getting so far. I mean, no writer ever that I've ever met that's been any good has ever said, "Oh, I hate the fact that I have to write within a structure," or "I hate the fact that I have these rules to stick to." They're all like, "Yes, these are the rules I have. How can I have fun with them? How can I make them interesting? How can I do it in a way no one has ever seen before so that I'm telling a really fun and meaningful story?" Like that's what a writer does. They don't just treat it like a journalist on assignment saying, go down to the park and write the story about Shakespeare in the park or what have you. They think, okay, how am I going to tell this story, say, of a successor to Iron Man in the most interesting way possible?
Well, we live in a weird time right now where to a certain cachet of folks, virtue signaling is currency. So you have to not only show how good you are, but you also have to show how you're a victim. And I feel like we live in strange times. I really feel like we're in some weird dimension.
Well, a lot of the times they only do it just to prove that they're not racist to each other. And I always like to point out that when they're actually doing this stuff, when they're actually, speaking on behalf of a person of color, for example, they're actually just further showing their own superiority and privilege by further oppressing, these people who they're so interested in actually look at Brie Larson. Instead of having Monica Rambeau, we have Captain Marvel, and then instead of actually doing something, like stepping aside and letting a woman of color take on the role, or maybe doing something to insist that they change the script. For that, Brie Larson says, no, give me $5 million and I'll be Captain Marvel. Meanwhile, I'll just go and say how you guys are all a bunch of racists because we need to have more women of color being, interviewing me on these press junkets and that sort of thing. So I always like to point out that. And then I also always like to point out that as a woman, when they try and pander to a woman specifically, like a Riri Williams or a Michael Burnham or a little Mary Ray Sue Palpatine, you're just telling me that these women characters are nothing on their own without being the girl version of something, and that they are so uninteresting. Not only do they have to steal a man's identity, but they're also just out there just being the most perfect. Nothing's challenging for them. They're just amazing and perfect at everything.
It's the lack of authenticity. That's what I was saying earlier. Like if you look at the last Avengers Endgame, and like there's the battle happening, the battle's going on, and then they go, we need to do a cutaway of all the girls. Just do a cutaway of all the girls. Now back to the action. You just go, yo, you're checking a box. That was like the most inauthentic piece of cinema in all of the Marvel universe. Like,
well, that's what every one of these girl version characters too, like your Riri Williams or Batwoman, or it's like, okay, girl more interesting superhero that we already have. Yeah. Do you really think that little of your female audience that they can't be anything other than just a girl version too? Like, no, it was so frustrating to me, and I don't like these characters. I'm not gonna go in and subscribe to their bullshit, basically.
One of the things, though, I keep saying now, when I was growing up, was the 80s, and Marvel had some of their best years in the 80s. And I keep saying, love him or hate him, the guy who was responsible for that largely, I mean, it was Chris Claremont, there was John Byrne, there's a lot of guys, but Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics back in the 80s for a long stretch that I remember. Jim Shooter we would never have Snowflake and Safe Space under Jim Shooter.
No way.
That would have came across his desk and he would said, are you fucking kidding me? This is
they lack authenticity.
Yeah, go back and do it again. If you don't have something better on my desk by 5 o'clock, you're fired.
Well, let's watch this cartoon quick, and then we'll check out Dan's Indiegogo again real quick. This is the one I meant to play before.
Yeah, this one's great.
These are actors. These are people who could be doing something else, and they're on the big screen actually selling our characters. And we can't make it work because we're in the comic book industry going, well, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is pretty good as the Iron Man, but I think it'd be much better if we just killed him and just added a little teenage black girl with a bad attitude.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's creators that did not capitalize on the greatest advertising push for comics in the history of anything. You had the biggest 20 run of movies ever made. It's unprecedented. And what did you do? When everybody in the world knew who Tony Stark was, who Iron Man was, and they went into a comic store, who was it? It was Riri Williams. When everybody in the world knew who fucking Hawkeye was for the first time in 60 years, it was a household name. Let me go in it. Where's Hawkeye? That's her over there. It's Kate Bishop. You fucking creators that did not capitalize. Well, I want to see Thor. Where's his comics? Oh no, it's her. It's that woman. That woman. No, you assholes You artists, you creators at the fucking mainstream, you destroyed these shops. It was you. It's like there's nobody else to fucking point the finger at. You were given a legacy by your betters, by the Stanleys and Dickos and Kirby's, and your betters gave you a legacy, and the best you could come up with was Riri Williams and Kamala Khan. You fucking destroyed this shit.
Yeah, and Riri Williams is just Michael Burnham also, because Michael Burnham is just Spock. She's literally just Spock. She's just a black girl Spock without even being
that cries.
To have any reason to be that way. Oh no, we'll just put Sarek's soul in her. So not only that, she's got the soul of an old white Vulcan inside of her. Giggity.
All right, guys. I want to see this number go up before the show's over. So let's try and get at least one more donation in there.
It's my dream that it does not say 709, but it says something like 710. It's my dream.
Your children will be immensely more proud of you if we just get that $1.
Hey, come here, Belle. Come here real quick.
Tom, does this update real time, or is it?
I just got to hit refresh.
Can you say, please buy my daddy's book?
Buy Dad's book.
She knew right where to say it to, right in the microphone.
She said it just like she tells me to do stuff. She didn't even say please. She's like, buy Dad's book.
Let's get that number up so that his daughter will give him more respect.
That's right. Don't you want to see his daughter respect him?
Gets no respect. Yeah.
And stick it to the man. Stick it to the comic book company.
Yeah.
Nah, this right here. What were you saying? Go ahead.
I was to say every time you donate to Fraga to Black Flag, VDIL cries.
Well, I'll tell you what my chief goal here is to make enough money to start my comic company, which is Incredible Comics. This is our flagship book. Any extra money that we make is going to go into additional titles, not just me making more of this book, but starting up secondary titles. I have an idea book of over 45 ideas. I've distilled those down into the top 5, and I'd like to do a rollout in the next 5 years to have 5 titles out by 2025. 5 titles coming out regularly of good comics that respect the customer, because that's our end goal, is good product for our customer.
There you go. And I think that was a different child, Mr. V. I don't think it was the same child. I don't think it grew up that fast. I know.
I have 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I eat like a rabbit too.
As Rodney Dangerfield once said, "Hey, remember what the best part about kids is making them."
That's right. And I eat like a rabbit too. Yeah. Hi, baby.
What were some of your influences going into this?
You want comics? Do you want directors? What do you want?
Well, just like originally when you were young and you decided that I'm going to get into comics or movies. Yeah, both.
The first comic book artist whose name I recognized was John Byrne. Big John Byrne fan. Then it was Frank Miller. Then I discovered Todd McFarlane, Art Adams, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, then Michael Golden, Mike Mignola. I like directors. Of course, Spielberg is a big one. Also a big fan of like action movies, the ones I mentioned, Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and even like Michael Dudikoff, the American Ninja movies, all those fun movies from when I was a kid. And then later on, I think Michael Bay makes a fun popcorn style movie, but I'm also a fan of guys like Christopher Nolan and David Fincher, guys like that. I don't know. I was wondering about the mail. Yeah, but those are my influences. And like as far as writers, I'm a big Claremont fan, big Frank Miller fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's some really good.
You mentioned Arthur Adams. Arthur Adams wrote those X-Men Arthur Adams books he did were really good.
Oh yeah, especially the early stuff, like the New Mutant Summer Special, X-Men Annual #9, X-Men Annual 10. Yeah, those are huge. Of course, Long Shot, Cloak and Dagger. All the early stuff really just blew my mind. And then, obviously, like I have anime influences. I like anything Katsuhiro Otomo, like Grave of Fireflies, and
Hey, we went up.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah! My dreams.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Seriously, like it's really like I feel like the customers are very much a part of this whole thing. Yeah, we're in an ocean, and everybody works together. I I love it. I love this whole movement. I love that we're all in it together, and we're trying to make the best of things. And the thing I say about this is especially being part of Image Comics history. I started at Image Comics back in '91, and I got to see comics history happen, and I feel very blessed because lightning has struck a second time. But this one I think is bigger and more important. I don't mean bigger than the Image guys, because obviously Todd, Rob, Jim, Eric, Wilson, Jim, and Mark did an exceptional thing back in 1991, 92. But as far as creators' rights and mostly customer respect, I feel like it's 1961 again. Back in the late 50s, there was a whole problem with seduction of the innocents, and comics got neutered. The hero comics got stupid. A lot of these guys were relegated to drawing romance comics, and the idea of like superheroes that actually were topical and respected the customer weren't brought about until Stan Lee and Ditko and Kirby brought them about. Hold on, guys. My daughter loves to interrupt me during streams.
No, that's fine. We got a super chat here anyway.
Yeah.
Dex Luther sent us a Canadian $5 super chat, Rob.
Dex Luther, Canadian $5. You'd think they'd allow a character with bobs. I think you need something else. Like the woman in pink in the mainstream. Never support Fraga for the bobs, if nothing else.
And yes, Bob's is evidently Canadian for
I'm
boobs.
a big fan of Bob's.
No, actually, they won't let you write that in the.
In the super.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Like
We need more Bobs, says Albo.
We need more Bobs because they bob up and down.
big breasts.
The Bobs and Vaginas.
The vagines.
Vagines.
But anyways, like I said, for the people who I kept saying, I've said this for a couple of people. For the people who kept saying, "Oh, you shouldn't revel in the destruction of the comic industry." I'm like, comics are going to be around. I mean, and stuff like what you're doing, stuff like what Ethan's doing, and what your boy Zach is doing. I mean, we're going to see a lot more of that. I hope.
Yeah.
In that, it's I call this the punk rock of the comics movement. A very DIY style of
in it, man.
Punk
rock. Oi.
You're ditching the corporation, the corporate rock of the major.
Doing it, you're on your own label. You're out there doing it, and you're handing them out selling them at other people's shows. That's all. That's what a lot of the Comicsgate stuff is. You're like, hey, here's my demo tape.
That. I love that punk rock. I love that.
That's all this is.
Well, it's the alternative, right? And in a couple of years, when it catches on fire, the main industry will try and switch over to the alternative and
make
that mainstream. And either everybody's going to be happy for it, or people are going to be really upset.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that's what happened. That's what happened. We're at right now, like all these live streams. This is like CBGBs. Rob's gonna know exactly where I'm going with this analogy. And now you've got all your independent comic creators are basically the Blondies and the Devos and the Ramones. And then pretty soon, all of these major industries are gonna probably come in and actually see all the potential money that they're losing, and they're gonna get really, really smart and try and buy you guys all up, or they'll try and duplicate it, and they'll try and
try to make the Clash.
Yeah.
The Clash was a boy band, right? Like they were put together.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah.
It's crazy to think about, but it's true.
It really only works once. That's the thing.
Well, there's a thing about punk rock, man. I heard this analogy of punk rock. This punk was walking down the street with this kid, and the kid said, hey, what's punk rock? And the guy goes, you want to know punk rock? And he goes and he grabs a trash can, throws it against the wall, and goes, oi, that's punk rock. And the kid picks up the trash can, throws it against the wall, and goes, "Am I punk rock?" He goes, "No, now you're a biter." So you gotta do it first.
Yeah, that's very true.
Diego Flores, we got 5 Peruvian souls. Too bad Iger isn't bald. Imagine Disney led by 2 bald Bobs. Oh Lord, yeah. Well, yeah. Disney came in. They bought up the comics. They bought the comics industry. So did Warner Brothers. Well, Warner Brothers been his own DC since the '60s. I mean, so that really just nobody cared until now. So, but yeah. So that's Tom. Do you have anything else we need to cover?
No, I just I want to thank Dan for coming by and hanging with us as always. We love having guests on. We'll have to have you on in a show where there's more for you to talk about than just Star Trek and stuff.
Oh, it's all good. You know what? Road Warrior 76, I just noticed in the chat, he was right. It was the Sex Pistols, not the Clash.
Oh, okay.
I'll blame it on the cannabis.
Well, Rob agreed with you, so.
Yeah. Malcolm Claren put together the Sex Pistols.
I would like to see this go up one more time before we end here, but.
I have a dream.
No, not yet.
I had a dream that I don't like 7, 3, and 4 next together because it's a math problem. 7 is 3 and 4 put together. And that messes with my head. I'm not a mather. I'm not a big fan of math. Math is illogical. It is. Math is illogical. It seems logical. It's the only thing that seems logical, but it is in fact illogical when you get down to the quantum level. So there's no logic in quantum. Thank you very much.
You got to confuse Mark Hamill for that one.
I did. That's Steiner math. I just learned about Steiner math.
So do check out the Indiegogo.
And yeah, please. The other thing too. Please.
Oh, it went up.
Hey, it went up.
Wait, down.
No, it went down. That's fine.
That's weird.
Somebody got a refund. They said, "Fuck your dream." No, fine. I'm okay because this math works for me. 6, 9, and 8 does not equal. There's no math involved. I'm actually good with this. But more importantly, I'd like you guys to check out the Couch Doodles channel on YouTube, where we talk about the creation of comics. We talk about different things. I have interviews with guys like Hellboy creator Mike Mignola, G.I. Joe architect Larry Hama. I interviewed Pat Lee, the guy who brought back the Transformers, interviewed with Ryan Stegman. I have future interviews with Neil Adams, Rob Liefeld, a lot of really great interviews coming down the line. So if you guys want to check out some fun stuff and get into some good live streams where I actually bring the chat onto the show, check out the Couch Doodle show, please.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have to have you on again soon as well. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I was just saying I have just subscribed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Every subscriber is see transaction refunded. That's fine. That was good. And it was a recent person too. I'm glad. I didn't like that 734 number. That was a terrible number.
You never know, they might be buying a bigger package off of that.
Me crying. I'm crying under these glasses.
I hope that they do.
The eye that I did not shoot out.
Well, maybe they'll reconsider.
Yeah.
I'd hate to think it was one of our people. If it was one of your people, shame on you.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm gonna buy it at a higher tier.
That's what they're doing.
That's what
I hope so. I hope this is going to go way up here in a few minutes. So,
I mean, if you want to really see it go up, just convert it from USD to Canadian, and that's like 150 grand.
Always looking at the bright side, right, Script Doctor?
I like that.
Yeah, actually, probably closer to 160 if I'm just doing it off the back of my head now.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Script Doctor likes maths. It's the one who gave the thumbs down, probably. Okay. I don't know.
Hey, man, you know what? I know I have a good stream if before I start it, it's good luck, Armin. If before my stream starts, there's a thumbs down, I'm like, yes, we're doing this right.
It always happens.
I love it. There's somebody going around actively clicking, and that makes me very happy. If you got a hater, you know you're doing it right.
Oh, yes. It's all Mecha's fault, says Parrothead. I don't know about that. Why would it be Mecha's fault?
Oh, my fault.
Dex Luther says it's 157,080
Good math.
Canadian.
You
There
guys
you
are
go.
close. What's the matter,
There
baby?
you go. You could buy a really, really tiny house in downtown Toronto for that, and but only like part of it, not the whole house.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Different areas.
There
are
it goes. That's
Thank
what
you.
they
Look at
did.
that. I like that number. I like that
That's
number
what
much
they
more.
did.
They
Except
upgraded.
that 1 and 4 is a 14, which is 7 times. No, I'm just kidding. Now we moved from California out here to Georgia, and I'll tell you the money goes a whole lot farther out here. We get pretty much twice the house, twice the gas. It's wonderful. I know the rabbit paw is missing. You know what it is? I have the rabbit's paws. I even have slippers. They're in the other room. But when somebody texts me on my phone, I can't do anything with the phone, so I have to pop a glove off to be able to do stuff. So
Occupational hazard.
Every now and then I break character. Sorry about that.
We'll forgive you this time.
Pokemon Blade says, look up the facts on Pat Lee. I'll have to. You know, Pat Lee is a guy I discovered back in 1994. I'm the guy who brought him into comics. So I only know him as a guy who was my roommate that I gave the first job to. He went off to go do his own thing. So I don't know what he's been doing other than to give him a call and ask him if he would do a new cover for me. So I'll have to look that up, Tekemon. Thank you. I'll give it a look. There was a company Porsche.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
I wish I had a Porsche. Wish I had a running car at the moment.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Me too. Actually, you know what? With this situation that's happening,
yeah,
I went to go start my car, and it had been so long.
Yeah.
Like literally, I haven't started my car in 6 weeks. The battery had died. I'm like, oh my god! So now, like, thank God my wife has a car. We use hers, but like when all this is said and done, I got to call AAA and get them to give me a little jumpy jump.
AAA's great. I've been a AAA member for God knows how long. It's money well spent. Really is.
Heck yeah. I've been a member since '91. So yeah, I love AAA. Magic.
All right. Well, we managed to get it to go back up over where it was, so I feel better
Thank you.
now.
No, I'm happy, man. You guys in the chat have been freaking awesome. I've seen some familiar names. Some of the gang from my crew over at the Couch Doodle Show, and seen a lot of new people. It's really great, man.
Yeah, hopefully if any newcomers enjoy what we do here, you check us out as well. But all of our listeners, if you haven't checked out Dan's YouTube yet, that's also in the description below, and I've also shared it in the chat, and also got your link up there for the Indiegogo. We'll check it one more time before we get Rob to play us some music here.
Oh, you guys also there's a tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time. There's and if you guys are streaming, I'm not going to tell you guys streaming tonight in an hour and a half.
No, not likely.
Okay, well,
we were going to be doing Toxic Femininity, but
okay, well,
I think we're not doing
there's
it. There's
a channel called Dark Gift, and I've been challenged to a battle rap.
Actually headed over there in a little bit.
Yeah, it was 6 a.m. So I got to go put on my Rocky music, and kind of feel like, yo, man, I'm going to get crazy. And I'm going to eviscerate him with my lyrical miracles. That was a rhyme. But no, I'm going to come and get him. I'm going to smoke a little bit of my Chiba Chiba, y'all, and then I'm going to get super powered because that's my spinach. I hear music. Bum, ba, bum, bum. Like it's the 18th theme song. And then I'm going to go whoop him up. Or I could get whooped. I don't want to get too cocky.
Oh, just listen to the American Gladiators theme song from the early 90s. There you go. That'll help you out.
You know what's sad? I'm going to tell you something about the early 90s that'll make everybody sad. This is really, really sad. I was so busy drawing comic books from 1992 to 2002 that there was a big section of TV that I missed. Like, for example, The Simpsons. I've seen maybe 20 episodes. Friends, I've maybe seen 10 episodes. The Seinfeld Show, I've maybe seen 10 episodes because I was so busy with my head down drawing that I missed a bunch of shit. I did not miss Star Trek, but I did miss a lot of that stuff. So American Gladiator, I want to check out. Death Metal Hero. I love Death Metal Hero. I see him in the chat. That's my dog right there. I love that man.
Awesome.
But I missed out. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go check out that theme song, because if you say it pumps me up, I'm down. I'm down to get pumped up.
Yeah, just it's all over YouTube, man. You'll find it and you'll dig it.
American Gladiators theme song.
19, it's like late 80s, early 90s version, I think.
I remember that show.
Thank you.
I remember the revival with Hulk Hogan. That was short-lived.
He was in American Gladiators for real?
In like 2008 or 2009, I want to say.
I had no idea, man.
Yeah.
No idea.
All right, Rob. I think we've earned a minimum effort puppy. What do you think?
Oh yeah. We definitely earned a minimum effort puppy.
Give me some music.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Oh. It's a good look.
Thanks for putting up with us, folks. Thanks, Dan, for coming in. We appreciate it so damn much. And we will catch you on Wednesday.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.